It was amazing, man. It was life changing. I was really expecting to just go there and train a few times a week, like I was back at home. Learn some good techniques, get to compete a bunch. Um, but it was totally different. Like when I went there, I remember there was people that were just training in the normal classes, and then there was like a group of people, probably like 5 dudes that were always in the morning on a separate mat doing drills. And I remember seeing those guys doing drills and like wondering what that was all about. And I would just kind of hang out, and I was trying not to overstep my boundaries and try to get into the competition team after just moving there. So I would train the regular classes as much as I could. And one day, one of my friends, his name's Gustavo Fonseca, he told me, if you have goals of like competing and becoming a champion, like talk to the bros, they'll help you. And like, so I did. I talked to them. They encouraged me to start drilling with these guys in the morning, and like I became kind of a part of like their competition team. And then, through, again, Gustavo's suggestion, like I wanted to become a coach so that I could start working with jiu-jitsu. He told me, like, just talk to them, like they'll help you. And so I talked to them and they helped me. They put me on as a kids coach, and then I was teaching like 3 kids classes a day. Fast forward like a year in, eventually I started getting to teach some adult classes and stuff. And just the opportunities just kept opening up. Like the more, like the harder I would work, the more time I would put into like my own training and teaching and giving back to the students. My professors, the bros, would take me with them to some seminars. They would travel with us to compete. And it was just an amazing experience, like to be able to do that, to just see like what you could do with jiu-jitsu at the highest level, to be able to travel the world, meet so many different people. Just really like get to see what you can get from like working really hard. I think the biggest thing I learned outside of just jiu-jitsu itself was probably professionalism in jiu-jitsu. Not to say that other businesses or school owners are not professional, but they're pretty big on not trying to carry that whole Fight Club vibe. They talk about it a lot at a gym, and trying to appeal to everybody that's interested in jiu-jitsu. And we've actually spoke about it here recently, but we have students that are interested in losing weight, students that just want to be a little bit more active, students that they want to get their kids into jiu-jitsu. They want to have an activity they do as a family, above just people who want to come in and scrap and get their energy out, which you have to cater to that too. You have to cater to all types of different people, and you can't always just be a tough guy. Like you have to balance everything. You got to be a professional, got to be almost a parent to the kids sometimes, and then got to be able to scrap too. Got to be able to hold down the fort when it's time. So everything, man. I learned so much. So one of the things that I talked to my professors about when I first approached them and wanted to like get into like the competition team, so to speak, they asked me what my goals were, and like are you have interest in being like a world champion? And I'm like, yeah, like I want to be a world champion. And I definitely pursued that as hard as I could for a while, and competed a lot. It's really hard work. I got to see what it's really like, what the best of the best do. Like, I trained with a lot of world champions at AOJ. We would do the cross training with Atos HQ, and there's plenty of world champions there as well. And I got to see, just how hard that work really is. And I did it for 3, maybe 4 years. And, I liked it. I liked it, and I also hated it. So, it takes a toll on you physically and mentally. And I started having a tough time with anxiety. Like I have anxiety, I have OCD, and like those are 2 things that really took a toll on me towards the end of like my brown belt. And I started kind of breaking mentally, and it forced me to become really introspective and start thinking like, what do I really want from this? Do I want to really keep pushing for this goal that I said I wanted, or can I take it back a step and start making a life out of this and start enjoying life? Because I was hating life for a short period of time. And, I started seeing, and actually Professor Angelica Galvao actually came out to me one time I think because I had already been speaking to my professors about like I think I want to step back from competing a bunch, and she had told me like, oh, like she was very supportive, just saying like, that's great. There's so many like roles to fulfill in jiu-jitsu, and there's so much you can do with jiu-jitsu. It's not just about competing and becoming a world champion. There's so much that you can do, and there's so many people you can help, and just getting that kind of advice from somebody like that in that place, because she's a champion, and a business owner and so many other things, and for somebody like, we don't really know each other that well, but for somebody to like take that time to say that to me, it was really helpful in me being able to like accept that role, because that's a tough thing to do too, to go from a competitor and like a no excuses kind of mindset to like, all right, like I'm gonna take a step back for a second, because you don't want to be like, you don't want to like be a loser, you don't want to be a quitter, but at the same time you do have to do what's right for you and your mental health too. So deciding to stop competing and pursue opening a school and was tough at first, but to be honest, that was my main goal. When I remember sitting in college and being in a tough class and thinking like I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Like I can't pursue like this. And I was taking business classes. Funny enough, like I have a business now, but I couldn't see myself sitting at a desk and doing a job. Like I was like, no way. But I remember I was like, man, I could do jiu-jitsu though. Something clicked in my head. Where like, man, I like jiu-jitsu. I think I'm pretty good. I think if I get good enough to get my black belt, I can open a school. And that was always my first goal. It wasn't to become a world champion, but things changed. I pursued other things, but eventually I came back to my ultimate goal of having the school, and now we got it, and just grateful. I think it's important because so many different reasons. One, to inspire the students, to show them like, look, like I'm out here doing it, like just for your development as a jiu-jitsu person. Competing really challenges you in so many different ways, and it puts this added stress and anxiety on you that you'll never feel in the training room. And with that added stress, that added anxiety, that added pressure, having to fight with people that you don't really know their game, like it just really, you really get to see like how good is your jiu-jitsu actually, how good are you at adapting to different situations. So for my own development, as a jiu-jitsu player, as a professor, that's why I do it. I do it to inspire the students. I do it to help me deal with my own anxiety, because that's probably the worst anxiety I feel is before I go compete, and like the ability to deal with that situation. And I feel like I'm getting better and better at it. It's like anything that comes up in everyday life is just not nearly as much of a challenge. And I feel like diving headfirst into that thing that's really scary makes anything else that's scary much less scary. Yeah, so I think the first thing is the efficiency of it, right? Like I would say that the Mendes brothers proved it in competition to me first. That's the first guys I saw. I can't say they're the first ever, but just like watching Professor Hoffa, Berimbolo people was awesome. It's like, look, like he's like laying down, spinning, and then he's on the guy's back and he's choking him. Like that's cool. So the efficiency of it, but also I would say a big part of it for me personally is that it's really like aesthetically pleasing. Like you look at it and it's like, that looks cool. And to be honest, that's the reason I first got into jiu-jitsu. There's so many different things that you can pursue as far as martial arts goes, and jiu-jitsu just looked like magic to me. To some people it looks stupid. It looks like dudes are just hugging each other. And but to me it looked really cool. And yeah, I'd say, man, that's a big part of it. And it's a weird thing to say that I like it because it's aesthetically pleasing, but really like if it looks good, like that often brings this feeling to you, and then it feels good. And that's why you like doing it, because it feels good to do it, to execute these techniques. Of course, like I like hitting like a clean hip bump sweep, from the closed guard. I like hitting like just, basic collar and sleeve triangles. Like anytime you submit somebody, it feels good. But yeah, I like it because it looks good, it feels good, and it's effective. Yeah, I think not that I'm going to say I have all the answers to what's going to come, but I think that it really never stops, and like there's always new connections to be made, whether it's an entry into the guard or into the Berimbolo, or a connection to the Berimbolo from a different guard, or just different reactions that your opponents give you. Like, there's ways to Berimbolo from the top, from the bottom, from getting leg dragged. So And I'm never. I don't want to say I'm never surprised because I'm often surprised by things that come up. But it's like sometimes you start thinking you know everything, and then somebody comes up with something new, and I think it's like anything else in jiu-jitsu. It's never ending, the evolution. It starts out with just how to get to De La Riva guard, some ways to pull guard. I show a really basic way. I show a little bit more of an advanced way. Um, that's a little bit more of a strategy, so to speak. I show ways to control the position. I troubleshoot a little bit. I don't get too much into troubleshooting. There's so many things that can go wrong when you're playing any kind of guard, and there's so many different situations that could come up. But I try to show a little bit of controlling and maintaining the guard based on what kind of things your opponent's going to be doing. I get into submitting from the guard, pretty much just triangles, but that's super effective. That's been my most effective submission. So ways to get to triangles from there, ways to sweep from the De La Riva guard, plenty of sweeps from De La Riva, and then some connections into some back takes, which they will connect into some other guards, but directly off the De La Riva, dealing directly with some of the reactions that your opponents are going to give you, and help you get to the back.